Welcome to the Game of Books podcast, Corks in Conversation with Richard Meredith.
Yes, this is sure to be a fun episode. You do realize, Cathi, that we're continuing our September trend where we talk to authors who live in California.
I actually hadn't realized that before we started doing this every week, and everyone's from California, which has been very interesting.
Yes, we're spreading the time zones out, so it's always a good coordination going on. So anyway, Cathi, why don't you introduce the author for today?
I would be happy to. We are here today with author Richard Meredith. He's a native of Flint, Michigan, but moved to California while serving in the U.S. Navy. And after getting his undergraduate and graduate degrees in biology, he worked as a marine scientist and wildlife biologist for the federal government and the private sector both. His latest book, The Crow's Nest, draws heavily on his work aboard commercial tuna boats and marine research vessels in the Pacific Ocean. You will know this name, Catherine Coulter, right? The New York Times bestselling author of Deadlock, says of The Crow's Nest, an improbable hero teams up with a wily sea captain to bring down a dangerous drug cartel. A nail-biter climax will keep you guessing whether they will survive. Don't miss this fast-paced adventure. So, pretty exciting, right?
Yes.
So, Rick, it's really nice to talk with you today. Welcome.
Well, thanks so much for having me. This is really a pleasure, and I really appreciate it. There's one other thing I think we have in common this month.
Oh, yeah?
Marine Biologist Month.
Oh, really?
Yeah, is it really?
Yeah, because wasn't it Joseph Reed you just spoke to
yes.
a couple weeks ago?
Yes, and I got the marine biology, but so, kind of, mine might be every month.
Yeah, okay.
Although I don't practice anymore, so there you go.
That's awesome.
Well, I'm not either. I'm done with that.
Awesome.
No, but thanks for having me. I really do appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks.
Well, we're excited to talk with you. Before we get started with the big questions, Christy, why don't you tell us the wine we are all enjoying for today, for this afternoon?
Okay, sure. Well, Rick, you suggested a Petite Sirah from Amador County. Am I pronouncing that right?
Amador, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Amador. Yeah. And of course, us being from all over the place, we weren't able to get the same wines, but I'd love to hear which wine you're drinking and why you chose that.
Well, I got actually a Petite Sirah that you can't ever be.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
No, that's our own Syrah, and I just made a label for it.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow. So you've made wine.
Well, actually, I was involved with a friend of ours who made the wine. All I did was go up there on bottling day and bottled 200 cases of it, and then he gave me about 10 cases. I put my own labels on it and claimed to be a vintner. So
awesome. That's a great idea. We got to think of that for Game of Books. Well, I tell you, I did get a Petite Sirah from the area that it's from is Dunedin Hills.
Dunedin Hills. That's north of Sacramento, a little bit northeast, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's not too far, but it's called Matchbook.
Oh, all right.
And I just like that label, and I said to myself, this is the only kind of matchbook they should have in California.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and have a sip and see.
All right.
Excellent.
I do like it. It's very fruity.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Cathi, do you realize this is the first red we've had this season?
Oh, thank goodness.
With YouTube. So if all of a sudden my teeth get red, you let me know.
Well, good choice. Very good choice.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into the questions.
I know. Here we go.
So yeah, you can hold the book up while I ask the first question. The plot of Crow's Nest takes a lot of twists and turns. I mean, I truthfully had no idea how things were going to be resolved. And without giving anything away, I did love the surprising resolution. I mean, it was a lot of twists and turns. And I was thinking, this is a complex plot. So I wonder, Rick, did this all just come to you once? Do you do it all along, or do you outline meticulously when you come up with the plot?
No, I'm a pantser. You know, I like to I
Oh.
like I like to write myself into a corner and try to get out.
Oh boy.
So, and because one thing I did learn is I'm not a writer, I'm a rewriter. So
Mm.
the plot kept evolving and changing, and I'd get a different idea, and I'd hear something in another book, you know, just a concept, and I'd go with it. So it was evolution. Yeah, I am.
Well, that's probably how it became so complex, because you
Yeah.
were rewriting and then thought of something else and just kept going with it. How long did it take you to get through the?
I'd say about 18 months, but I had this one editor, and she actually, Lourdes Menard at Comma Sense, she eliminated probably 10 characters, because I was
Wow.
you know, 'cause on the tuna boat, I had all these crewmen that had different things, doing different things, and so it really, she pared it down quite a bit, because you know, she said, I can't follow what everybody's doing. So
Right.
So,
it's about an 18 month, and then, you know, another few months of editing. So.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was particularly taken by the cartel piece. I just thought that was really an interesting area of research, and that whole underworld. And so I was curious, one, is this original research, or did you have some? Tell us about that, because I thought that was really, it just made the storyline that much more fascinating.
Well, you know, it's thank God for the internet and Wikipedia, but you know, the homemade primitive submarines is a real thing. I saw a documentary on it. So
That was going to be my next question. I mean,
that
like,
was the
how
germ
did
of
you
the
think of
idea,
that?
you know? And then it evolved, you know, what happens if you had a crewman that kind of go, well, I don't want to say too much, but you know, if you happen to lose a shipment, how would you recover? And that's where the tuna boat got involved in it. And that
Okay.
was my experience, was on the tuna boat. So the cartel, though, is a lot of, you know, just a lot of reading, and, you know, a lot of Don Winslow reading of his stuff on the cartel, and
Wow.
a couple other books. So yeah.
We're so thankful that your tuna research was original, not the cartel.
Yeah, exactly.
We were trying to figure out beforehand, we were like, okay, should we call it a tuna boat or a tuna seiner? Is that pronounced correctly?
The seiner is the type of boat, because you know, they're the ones that have the really long nets, and they dispatch them with this big net skiff off the rear, off the aft, and then they make this big circle with the net, and then they have these two big cables at the bottom, and they purse the net closed at the bottom. So you have this the tuna and the port and dolphin are trapped in this big net. So it's a seine net, and they call the high seas seiner, is the term they use. So
and you had to spend the time on the boat as the marine biologist, like, just to make sure that they were doing getting the right things and all that.
Yeah, you remember in the 70s, late 70s, there was the whole controversy of the tuna dolphin. Well, I was with the National Marine Fisheries Service at the time, just out of college. And ironically, I got the job. Well, one of the reasons I got the job was they saw I was a Navy veteran, you know, as well as a biologist. I never told them that I never saw a ship in the Navy. I was in a Sometimes you better just say yes.
Yes, I am. That's right.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yes, I am.
Right.
That's
right.
awesome.
Yeah, because the submarine too, I was like, I thought, wow, did he think of this himself? And I'm like going, and is he giving people ideas now?
No, that's actually a real thing. But what I want to do, though, is I want to make, you know, convey the feeling of being trapped in this skinny little fiberglass tube, you know, 30 feet under the sea, with with stifling hot, you know, putrid air, you know.
Yeah.
I
a little claustrophobia.
I was claustrophobic reading it, actually.
Yeah.
I was like, how could anybody do this? No way.
That's really interesting. Okay, so Christy, I think it'd be a great segue right now to do our question in the bottle.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, so Rick, what we do is we come up with, Christy's got a little bottle, empty bottle, and we've got questions in there that you might reach if you were actually at the bottom of a bottle. If you don't care for your question, you can pass, because I don't know what she's going to pull out.
Okay.
I don't either. Was that an evil laugh?
That was an evil laugh.
Oh, no, this is a nice one. What's the most entertaining concert you've ever seen?
That's actually
That's a hard one, actually.
was, just saw McCartney last year.
You did?
Yeah, in San Jose. But about 6 months before, I saw Bob Seger's last concert. And I grew up with Bob Seger because he was, Detroit, Flint, that whole thing. So
Yeah.
those are the latest ones I've been to. So, but
yeah, you're talking my music love generation here.
I saw at Kezar back in '71, so that was pretty cool too.
You saw who?
Led Zeppelin.
Oh, yeah, that was before my time. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm aging myself. I know.
No, amazing.
No.
You obviously are a
alive.
concert goer. I mean, I'm really thankful that you are. When she asked that, I thought, what if you're not a live?
I know,
music person?
right? Well, he could have come up with anything. It could have been like, well, I saw the Philharmonic last week or something.
That's awesome.
But rock and roll, that sounds good.
Okay, so I want to segue. I am so curious. I think you might be the first author, Rick, that we've talked to who did the non-traditional route to publishing. And I'm really curious about your experience and why you took that route.
Well, I'm really a primitive writer. I had exactly one writing class in college. I was always, Christie, labs and,
Yeah.
But I always read a lot, and I always wrote a lot because we were doing scientific reports and things like that. But I got so sick of, trying to be objective and, no color in your writing. And I just said, I want to do something where I can just let myself go. So, and I went through a lot of classes, and I did a lot of, false starts, and I still don't consider myself a writer. It's hard to say.
You don't?
You are a writer. You
Yeah,
are a writer.
It's like I wasn't the kind of person who suffered anything. I just kind of enjoy what I'm doing. So it's,
Well, that's the best.
What a concept, right? To enjoy your writing.
I do enjoy it, and it's been like I've had so many influences, and I just I kind of, like I say, I write what I've read.
So what do you like to read if you're not doing research? What do you like to read to help you become a better writer?
I'm a very in-genre reader, though. I'm Gillian Flynn. Don Winslow. Michael Crichton was a favorite of mine because he always had the science background to it. I used to read a lot. I read in fact, I reread them like 2 summers ago, all the Travis McGee novels by John D. MacDonald.
Oh, that's down in my neck of the woods.
Yeah, the South Florida, the Fort Lauderdale, the whole thing. And of course, I got started when I was 12. I went to see a James Bond movie. Next thing you know, I read all the Ian Fleming books. So, yeah, I'm very in-genre reader.
Well, that's how we all got started, I think. I mean, we love what we read, and then we start to write what we read. And it, similar background. I remember I've always enjoyed writing, as far as the challenge and trying to write well. And but I really did pick classes that, if they said there was going to be a long paper in it, I was like, I don't think so. I'm just going to do the ones where I, do the calculations or something. But now it's like, it is. If you love it, then it's still worthy.
I tell people it's the for me, I'm kind of a lazy writer, to be honest, but it's the hardest thing to start, the easiest thing to quit, but it's so much fun in between.
Oh, that's the hardest thing to start, but the easiest thing to quit. Wow.
It's so much fun in between. All right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so how did you come to this? How did you get it in this final form here? You're at Moonshine Cove Publishing.
Yeah, I had a bunch. My first book was kind of self-published through Create Space, and then the second one I went through, agent after agent after agent, rejection after rejection. And I started going to small publishers, and about the third or fourth one was Gene Robinson, and he liked it. And so I thought, I love, Moonshine Cove.
I know,
I
it's
know,
kind of
right?
great.
That sounds pretty appropriate for me.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, well, that's the first thing I want to ask about.
I know, because Cathi and I are just a step behind, we're like editing process, still trying to,
Yeah.
maybe do some querying, but it's, we're learning so much about indie publishing again too. So,
Yes.
so it's good to see the balance and see what
Well, I've got a
what's good
spreadsheet for you, then I will send you.
Okay.
All the small publisher contacts that I've got.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, congratulations on that. I mean, I think the, just going through the process of trying to find those agents and not maybe working that avenue and then finding another avenue, that's success. That's a success right here.
Well,
I know.
my third book, which is I actually got an agent, and
Oh, wow.
well, it's been a year and he's had no success.
Except they're going to take your money,
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
He's had no success, so we're probably going to have to, go independent on that one too eventually. But
Yeah.
it's just it's.
So is the third book that you're marketing right now, is that a continuation of this or totally different?
It is totally different, but it's actually starting. It's all finished and everything, but it's the start of kind of a series.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
And San Francisco detectives in it, and I'm about 50,000 words into number 4, and I got about 50 pages into about number 5. All of a sudden I just had this urge to start writing this other one. I'm very linear, I'm not a multitasker at all. That's why.
Your may understand.
Yeah, it's very linear.
Okay, so you're linear, but you're a pantser. And those seem, that seems to be kind of competing, right?
I'm also left-handed, so that explains a lot. Nothing seems, all the wiring is a little backwards. So
do you keep a steady schedule? I mean, do you try to get in your chair every morning at a certain time or a pattern?
I am really hit or miss. And I was at Killer Nashville last year, and I met Alexandra Ivy.
Okay.
And she was one of the guest speakers there, and we were in line in the wine line.
It all comes
We've
back
been
to
to
the
those
wine.
conferences.
Rick, it all comes back to the wine.
We went to the University of Missouri, Kansas City for a while, so we had this in common. But I got to, and my wife was with me at the time, and I think Carol asked, so what's your writing schedule? And she goes, well, I'm 10 hours a day.
Oh my gosh.
And her eyes looked at me and it rolled back. Because you got some working to do.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, your wife probably didn't need to hear that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But I would think that, I know for a fact in my experience, this pandemic has just made everything seem weird. So even if you had a schedule ahead of time, I bet she's not writing 10 hours a day right now in Nashville.
It's strange. You'd think that this would be a great time to write because you've got nothing else to do, but it's kind of counterintuitive. It's not exactly like that. It's like you got too many other things you're thinking about.
Yeah, stress.
Yeah, that is that's a really interesting point. I've read a lot of interviews or watched a lot of Zoom calls with authors, which is one of the great things, right? That there's more of this stuff, more Zoom calls with authors, and you can see your favorite authors, but it does seem to kind of carry through all genres, that people are just in a different productivity level or a different way of doing things. And it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And now, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with that because it's just put me in a different, we also have like childcare with our grandkids because, they're all their daycares are closed. So it kind of disrupts the day. And then of course I end up getting a German Shepherd puppy like 5 months ago. And that, although it's fun, it takes away a lot of the day.
Yeah, that is not very good for time use, I don't think.
No.
So do you live in the country kind of? Are you?
No, we're downtown Sacramento in
wow.
Park, and cool. I think our house was built in 1920 across the streets of the original firehouse in 1906.
Oh, wow.
Not the original firehouse for this area, but.
So are there fires near you? What is like your air like?
We're close. The closest fire to us was the one out west of us near Dixon, and that's probably 20, 30 miles away. But the ashfall has just been incredible. It's like, they warned us not to have our dog bowls outside because the ash falling in the water creates a lot, a lye that the dogs can poison the dogs. And
oh my gosh.
you have to take a leaf
Wow.
blower to clean the furniture off. It's like a mini snowfall sometimes, it's just crazy. Very ultra fine
Wow.
ash. And the smells,
Wow.
in a Kansas City barbecue.
Really?
Yeah, which I don't mind at all.
Yeah.
Except you don't get the benefit of the actual barbecue.
You're like hungry all the time. That's not
The
good.
lung problems, you don't get the taste, right? And then every other day, it's like you have to wear a mask, not for COVID, but for the air quality.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of overlaps a little, which is fortunate. I mean, if you're going to have to wear a mask, it's
At least you're used to it.
yeah. I don't know where I was going at, but I do think I liked the mask the other day when I was wearing it, and somebody was doing the leaf blower, and I was like, oh. So.
Well, I thought I'd kill two birds with one stone, so I just made one like this,
Oh, nice.
I'm
You're
just
gonna have to
saying-
hire him as our marketer.
I was going to say, you have got the marketing down. That
Yeah,
is awesome.
Wish I
That's
did.
great. Yeah.
That's great. Christy, what do you
Anyway.
think about our famous question we love to ask? Should we do it?
Oh, yes. This is, you may have heard on other episodes, but it's our final question that appeases everybody, I think. Which of your characters would you like to share a meal with, and what would it be?
It would probably be Fernando Cuervo, the cartel head, the capo. And it
would be.
We'd have an albacore dinner or yellowfin. Because I just
Some vegetables from his farm.
yeah. He was interesting to me in that. Well, so is Johnny, but you want a bad guy that's not all bad.
Mhm.
Mhm.
The duality of the personality and the way he got into the cartel. That'd be interesting
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
It'd
It
be
was-
good
there were some
conversation.
good characters.
Good stories. Okay, so what's really most important is that everyone who's going to be listening to this is going to want to get a hold of this book. How is the best way for them to reach out to you if they have questions, and where should they order your book?
Well, obviously it's on Barnes and Noble, and it's also on Amazon, obviously.
Yep.
And my website is Richard W. Meredith. That's MEREDITH.com. And I also have a author Facebook page. It's Richard W. Meredith with a period after the W, not altogether. And those are the ways to get in touch with me right now. But
Awesome.
I was going to say, the whole thing about marketing is that COVID kind of took me by surprise, and all the conferences and the signings I was going to have didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of fell through, and I was kind of behind the eight ball on social media. So I should be what you call a cautionary tale. Make sure you've got your and ready to go, and not try to play catch up all the time.
Well,
It's hard work, I tell you.
we're doing the best we can, all of us. And
Yeah.
I will say, I am certain that anybody who picks this up is going to have a great escape from whether it be fires or worrying about COVID, because this is a
Yes.
whole different level of stress if you're reading this thing.
Well, thank
But
you.
that's what we love about thrillers, and it just takes you away from what you've got going on, and it's a real page turner. And the ending is, as Christy said, just this wild, windy, turning ending, but really satisfying end. So I think people will love it.
Yeah, so we'd like to thank again our author, Richard Meredith,
Yes.
for a high-stakes thriller about two men seeking their own justice against brutal cartel. Order his latest book, The Crow's Nest. And we'll be looking for when that next book comes out. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you again
Glad to
for the
have you.
opportunity. And you'll be
Yeah.
first on the list when the next one comes out, believe me.
Oh, great.
That'd be great. All right. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. All right.
Cheers.
Thanks very much. Have a good one.
You too.
You too.